Everybody.
Hello.
Hello, Chad. Welcome. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, 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 good. Um, William, how are you doing today?
Hi, Catherine. I'm doing very well. How are you
Good.
doing?
Wonderful. Okay. So, Chad, um, you're my main guy. So, what I wanted to, I guess we could wait a few minutes for people to come, but it's okay. Well, first of all, Chad, how's everything in Florida? How are you doing?
Good. I got off my high horse and I've got a new team member starting today.
What? Amazing. Who was that?
A friend of a friend. Um,
Okay.
yeah, she sought us out. I showed her what Radius had to offer and she was pretty excited. Brand new agent, so it'll take a little bit of time, but she's super smart. Works for Price Waterhouse. I mean, she's a very intelligent person. Um, she got a really good market, really good niche area, so I think she'll do well.
That's awesome. You had a few people from Chase Waterhouse or from that
I had
company,
people
right?
from different areas, but none of them really worked out. Honestly, it's just they weren't good fits.
Oh, I see. Um, well, what is the person's name so I can look out for them?
Lindsay Barry.
Okay. Have they come through yet?
No, she just got her doc sent to her today. Her and I have a 3 o'clock call today, um, just to make sure before she signs. I want to go through it with her, and then
Awesome.
she should be onboarded in a couple days.
Awesome. Well, that's so cool. Congratulations. And now is
Thank
that
you.
your only team member for now?
It will be, yes.
It will be. Yeah. Um, so, our call today is about leadership, which is one of my favorite topics, and I'm sure it's one of your favorite too, Chad.
Yep, yep.
But, what would you say, like when you think of the word leader, like what's the first thing that comes to mind?
It's not a word for me, honestly, but it's someone that gives for others to succeed.
Right? Yeah. I like that. Yeah, being a leader, and of course it's all, it's all about perspective and how you feel. It's subjective, I guess. But, leaders to me, a very good leader is one who um, is willing to stand aside so that whoever they're leading, their people, reach success, right? So, it's okay when you're a leader, it's okay to be behind the scenes if you want to. You don't
Yeah, you
have
don't
to.
need the spotlight, right? I mean, you're
Right.
there to support.
Yeah. 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 Um, so, you know, having in real estate, I mean, having being a leader in real estate is like being a leader in other organizations and other industries, but it's really important to have um, when you're starting out and you're looking at, growing your team, you're looking at how can you be a leader with your team, with your industry, with your market, even down to your market. And it's all about having a clear vision and strategy, right? So it's like, what are your goals as far as your team? What do you want to achieve as a leader?
Actually, I had a great conversation with I believe it's Justin, the last few days.
Uh huh.
He's part of recruiting now, and
Yes.
I might be abnormal. I don't need a big team. I want. I'm abnormal for a lot of reasons, but I have a really good friend. She does about 25 million a year with two team members,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be that typical team leader broker who has 100 agents when three of them produce. I want a couple select people that do it because they love it, that we can get along and just kill it. I mean, if we can each do 5 million a year, 10 million a year, that's phenomenal. But keep it small, keep it tight, and make sure we're making margin.
Yes. Well, I mean, you and I are on the same page. Absolutely. That's how I feel too. Um, and there's different schools of thought, you
Oh, for
know.
sure.
So I see people, I see coaches like on social media um, who talk about the way to success is to have um, is a numbers game. So have as many team members as you can possibly recruit to have that 25 million, or to have the same goal basically. Um, but it's just a matter of, do you want to have a lot of potentials, or do you want to have tried and true? That's really the trick. But it all comes back um, to what your goals are, like having that clear vision and strategy. But it sounds like you have yours. Welcome, Anna. You're a speaker. If you ever want to talk,
Hi.
you can speak. Hi. Now, where are you from, Anna?
uh, Santa Clarita, California.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So
Welcome.
Southern California, Palmdale, Lancaster, Santa Clarita, Valencia, all that area.
Oh, awesome. Wonderful, Anna. Um, Welcome to
Thank
Leadership
you.
Ladder. So I'm taking over this session this week because Dee is on vacation, much needed vacation.
Oh,
Um,
good.
so yes, I'm taking over, and we're basically talking about leadership as far as how it goes with uh, growing a team. What does it mean to be a leader in this industry? Um, and what is a leader to you, Anna?
Let's see. My part. Oh yeah, my speaker. Let's see. Someone. I work on a team here, and I'm not the lead. I just work on the team, and it's the leader is just a resource or someone that you can go to in regards to real estate, to help support your business so you can grow or keep moving forward, um, and just being able to help other realtors solve their problems through the transactions they have.
Yeah. So like a sort of a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Um, so you can be, you don't have to be the team lead to be a leader, obviously, in
Mm-hmm.
your own business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, the first thing is having a clear vision and strategy. We talked about that before you jumped on, Anna. But then also being proactive and decisive.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait for things to happen to you. Be proactive in identifying, addressing challenges and opportunities. Um, be decisive and take action. So being a leader is about taking action. Um, be a good communicator.
Mm-hmm.
So communicating effectively and being approachable, like you said, Anna. I mean, it's important to be approachable to your teammates and to others that you work with. So they do come to you and they do consider you a leader. And even as a team member of like a larger group, you could be somebody that people come to, you know, um, be supportive and empowering, um, create a positive and supportive work environment for your teams,
Mm-hmm.
empower them to make decisions and take risks. Um, Recognize and reward their accomplishments. Um, be open yourself to learning and growing.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you're a leader doesn't mean, you're the end all be all, you know everything. Um, I guess that kind of comes with maybe a little bit of humility too. Have some humility as a leader. Um, and also, attending, keeping abreast of new things. So attending industry events, maybe some networking things at your association, read industry news, um, and do a lot of professional development. That's the key also is to being a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Something that I've enjoyed doing um, is becoming a leader in the local association here. Um, And in Texas, so I'm in Dallas. In Texas, we have Texas Realtors has a signature, um, like I don't know what a profession. It's a it's a signature program, I guess is the word, um, that kind of pushes people through a leadership, um, a year-long leadership program that gets you really involved with the inner workings of the association, but also you're among a bunch of other leaders um, who are very much interested in advancing the real estate profession. And also, this program is about spokesperson training. So you really get a nice, well-rounded sort of education, and um, it pushes you towards being a leader in the association. And when I was in Florida, I was actually going to start their leadership program too before I relocated to Texas. So I know that Florida has it as well. Chad, are you familiar with that? The leadership program in Florida?
Whoa,
So,
I'm on mute. I am, but I'm not part of
oh, okay. Well, so anyway, so that's kind of a neat way of formalizing that education component of being a leader. But really, what we just talked about is the bulk of it. It's who you are as a person, who you are as a professional, and even if you're not leading other people, you could be seen as a leader in the community and with your clients. Like if you are best in class, you're your material, you're extremely competent, you have a great reputation in your community, you're going to be considered a real estate leader, and that equals, in my opinion, that equals long-term career. But long-term career, meaning, the clients that you're with now are going to be your clients in 30 years. Like that's the
Yes,
long-term plan, is to be a leader in your community.
that's a good reminder
Yeah,
for me
thanks.
at least. Thanks.
Yeah. So I was just at the board of directors meeting for Metro Tex Association, which is one of the largest, it's the second largest association in the state of Texas. And that's where, I do my leadership stuff with. And they just came back, the global, I guess it's the Global Affairs Committee just came back from our sister trip. It's like from the Netherlands. So we have a sister association over there that hosted a group of Metrotex people, and it was interesting that they do things somewhat differently. It's absolutely not a transactional approach to real estate. It is the long-term lead generation routine. So when people are when these realtors, no, they're not realtors, maybe real estate agents, when the real estate agents are going out there and getting this business and helping these clients, every step of the way, what's in the back of their head is formulating a client for life.
Hmm.
It is not transactional.
That's what I do normally, is just mostly as a resource for my clients, because in our office we actually focus a lot on foreclosure prevention, and those clients are lifelong clients. They remember, oh, you guys helped me out. And I talk to the client, all of my clients, follow up with them and talk to them, just checking in on them. And that's how I've actually gotten a lot of referrals from that, just following up and checking in with my clients because they forget sometimes.
Now, how long have you been in the business, Anna?
16 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you must have repeat business.
Yeah, yeah. I just actually this week, it was a client I helped um, with a purchase. Then she rented that house out, and I helped her get into a rental, and then she bought another home now. So that was, you know, uh, repeat business. And that was, 3 transactions, 4 transactions almost with her, with just one person within. And that was since I've known her since 2016.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it's just checking in. A
Yeah.
lot of it is referral for me.
Okay.
And just like you were saying, just being a leader in my community or just sphere of influence, making sure I keep people informed, and letting them know, or just remind them, hey, I'm a realtor, this is what I do. Um, you know, what home inspections are, like what the process is. And sometimes I'll post that on, say, this is what a realtor does as part of the transaction.
Yeah. So I'm sure you probably also are involved with the community, like giving back and donating your time and things like that. That's always good. Um, oh, we just lost her. So giving back to the community,
Of
like,
Southern California.
oh, okay. Oh, I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello? I can hear you. Can you hear us? Hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I don't know why, William, it just kind of disappeared. Her tile disappeared.
Oh,
It's okay. It's okay. We have someone from our dev team on here, so that's what I was talking about. But no problem. I can hear you. So giving back to the community, did you say that you do that, Anna?
yeah, yep. We do that here in the office. That's part of the program that we offer, is the free loan modification assistant to the community.
Okay.
Hmm.
That is amazing. That is amazing because yes, that is a great way to give back, to, share your wealth of knowledge about real estate because it is when you're not in this business, I've realized this over the years, it's kind of hard to, when you've been in it for so long, it's hard to imagine, not being in it. But for people who have no idea about the real estate industry, the idea of buying a house is a dream usually, but it's like, how the heck are they going to realize this dream? Like they just don't know. So, having, some informational sessions in your neighborhood or, in your community, even at the library, things like this, like it's no charge except for your own time. You're just donating your time, but you're giving a lot back to the community. And that's going to present you as a leader, a real estate leader. And people are going to look to you um, to get involved. Um, so, some more tips for being a successful leader in the real estate world is to lead by example. So, be the kind of leader that you want to work for. Isn't that key? I love that because being the type of leader that you want to work for. I mean, we've all had examples of poor leaders. Like we can all think of that, right? But it's like, when was there an amazing leader? And, I can tell you that um, I've been fortunate to have some really great leaders in my career. Um, and one of them was our sales manager. This was when I was working in a rural area in Arizona. Uh, and You know, it's actually funny because I just saw it on the news. It was Cochise County, Southern Arizona. And I worked there full time selling real estate for 6 years and just loved it. I sold all kinds of different things. I sold, um, residences, commercial businesses, strip marts, land. I kind of did a little bit of everything because it was a rural area, a small, kind of small town. Um, but one of my favorite leaders was our sales manager at it was a very large family owned real estate brokerage. And they had, at the time, they had about 1,200 agents. They've probably doubled it since then, but they had multiple locations and everything was brick and mortar. And um, so our sales manager had been in the business for 30 years and she was like, sort of like a den mother, you know? She just really loved everybody. She wanted to see every single person succeed. And she was just one of the greatest leaders because she could tell you, you know, first of all, she's not the expert. She's not like my way is the only way, but she would listen to me and she would let me know, okay, this is simple. This is what avenue, here's an avenue, and let's brainstorm some ideas. So, it was about, for me, the leadership, the really great leadership was about compassion, patience, um, I want to say, generous with time. These are all feelings that I had about the sales manager, and yet she was a very busy person. It's not like she could be reached on the phone just any time of day. She had a bunch of agents, like over 100 at the time. But she was a wonderful leader, and I will always revere her as such. Um, but she led by example. She was kind, she was ethical, she was honest. Um, she was extremely competent and we all felt like even in our rural area that we had the top knowledge. Like she would teach. She actually had one of her very best friends growing up happened to now be the real estate commissioner for the state of Arizona. So she would always tell us that she would get firsthand knowledge, and I'm sure that was just a line, but firsthand knowledge of all these things coming down the pike from the commission. So we all felt like um, we had a one up on the ethical compliance stuff. So it's that kind of stuff. But you know, it's important to have that example, and then to be an example for your team. Um, Donna, hi. We haven't said anything yet, but welcome to Leadership Ladder.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Do you have an example of like a leader that you've either worked with or an example of a wonderful leader?
When we were in Reno, our broker there, office manager, she was amazing. She always had time for us. She reached out every week or every other week, just to check on everybody, see how they're doing. Um, so yeah, I mean, she did. She she was working super busy in her own business too, but she always had time for everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
How many agents were there?
Um, Jay, do you know how many agents were in the Reno office? Yeah, that seems right. 20 or 30. Not a whole lot.
Yeah,
More
that
than here.
personal touch is really lasting, gives a lasting impression.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and that kind of goes back to, an important skill set of a leader is knowing how to build relationships. And that's essentially what we do in real estate every day anyway, building relationships. Something that, I've heard a lot over the past few years is that we are we've got to shift from the idea of lead generation to the idea of friend generation. So it's friend gen versus lead gen. And I don't think that's a new concept or a new approach. But what I do think is happening is that as the world rapidly changes and, it just seems like there's a whole lot more people than ever. a whole lot of demand, right? A whole lot of buyer demand, and not enough housing, this sort of thing. Because there's just pure volume and numbers in our industry, it's more important than ever that we're not transactional, that we are diving in and, really creating our sphere. Like if we don't have a sphere of influence, creating one and creating those friends that and business, acquaintances that are going to um, really help you grow your business, and not just for tomorrow's deal, but for the next 4 or 5 of their deals over 10 years, 15 years. Like that's the way we've got to kind of shift and think about things. Um, it's easy to hear, if you go on to social media, and I've seen some coaches recently that are just always talking about volume and the Keller Williams idea of mega agents and all this kind of stuff. And it always kind of sits with me bad, because we really shouldn't be looking at you know everybody with dollar signs over their head. Like, oh, am I going to get, is this the next $10,000 paycheck? I mean, it might be, but does that really lead towards a truly satisfactory experience for that client? That's debatable. So that's just, I'm kind of sharing my own philosophy on business right now. But, the idea is that people will come back to you and will be repeat clients if you made it a really good experience, if they trust you. So it's not necessarily about, just getting them to the closing table. Obviously we do that. That's why we're in business, is to make money, but there has to be that balance of giving great service, giving competent advice, being a leader in the community. And then that's going to be, fruitful. It's kind of like the law of attraction, where you get back what you give out, you know? So if you're giving out the wrong things, you might not be getting the right things in. Does anybody have any comments about all that?
I agree.
Different approaches. I'm not the touchy-feely guy, but that's why I think you want to build a team that you have some of those agents as well, right? Because I do think that that's incredibly important, and that's probably where I miss the boat more than anywhere. I can give absolutely great attention to my clients, but as far as shaking hands and kissing babies, not very good at it. So I think that's another aspect of building a team, and the type of team that you build is to fill in my opinion, some of the voids that you might have.
Yeah. When I was first getting into, that's a good point, Chad. When I was first getting into real estate, I was thinking, really reading up on, should I go into commercial or residential? And, everything that I read was that commercial it's more transactional, right? It's very transactional. It's very much numbers driven. It's just business focused. It's all business. There's no emotions in commercial, is what I was told. And with residential, that's the shaking hands, kissing babies thing. Residential is all about that. And I guess that kind of, in a way, that makes a little bit of sense, right? Because commercial is a business transaction. And residential is all about your family and where you're lying your head at night. So that kind of makes sense a little bit. But when I was first starting out, I was in that rural area, and there was really no way to focus on just commercial, because commercial, there just wasn't enough business. Like you would never survive if you were just doing commercial. You'd have to have another job or two. So I decided to just kind of really focus on residential. And I ended up really enjoying it. And I thought I was going to be more of that transactional type, but I morphed into that, real relationship building sort of mode. And I did have a lot of repeat business. Um, so I know that that works. I know it works. Um, so the next thing about being a successful real estate leader is being a team player. So when you're talking about having a team, being a leader doesn't necessarily mean it's, um, dictatorship sort of thing, like just telling people what to do. It's, basically you want to be that leader that people want to work with. You want to keep that, like Chad said, the one or two people that he has on his team, he wants to keep them close, right? And they're good team members, and they're reliable, and they'll close business. And that comes when you're a leader that, your teammates respect, that they want to do business with, they want to sit down with you at the table and learn from you. Um, that's the best way to do it. Um, mm, any thoughts on that?
I think that not being a dictator is huge because you should complement each other. We all have different skill sets and nobody has them all, right? So I think what you said there was very important.
Oh,
It,
good.
a team's really a team, right? If you're a good leader, you should be trying to attract people that do things better than you. You might do some things better than them. They might do some things better than you. It's not a competition in the team. Our competition's outside, right? In our own team, our own family, we got to kick ass and help each other, regardless. There's no ego on the team. There shouldn't be. We're all one.
Yeah, Jason is a lot more personable than me. Um, he can get information out of people who are holding tight. Not to say that I'm unfriendly, but he just knows how to get information out of people and find out what they want or need. And I'm more about the facts and figures. So we make a perfect team together.
That's a really great point to complement each other. It just reminded me of a book I read. I just pulled it off my shelf. Um, Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. It's by John C. Maxwell. And in this book, this author said, you know, something about being a good leader is creating, and this is just in life, right? Creating a circle of like 5 people around you, and each one is excels in a different way. And that's your circle of friends, that's your sphere. And that's what a lot of leaders have. Like great leaders have a group of great leaders around them. So it's like picking and choosing your friends in a very strategic way. It really stuck with me. It just stuck with me because it's like, we talk about this in a lot of ways as far as like, or at least I do. I talk about this in a lot of ways like you should, even if you're an independent agent, have you do have a team, right? You do have a team. It's your photographer, it's your title rep, your preferred title rep. It's um, it's your preferred mortgage lender, like your lender, your person. These are all like people on your team. So when somebody says, "Do you have a team?" Well, yeah, I have like a construction guy on my team. Like you have a team. So this kind of really stuck with me when I read this book that, having that team of, it's almost like personal advisors, it's kind of like building your own, bored. If you think of it that way from a business sense, you're building your life in this way that you have these influential people in your life. So, and pick people who really assess who your friend base is and what their skills are, and bring in people who you could benefit from, and vice versa. So you're not just benefiting here, you're giving too. So you're giving advice that people need. It's just really interesting to me. So that book is Good Leaders Ask Great Questions, Your Foundation for Successful Leadership. There was a time when I was reading a lot of leadership books. So I have a very smart bookshelf um, about leadership. But yeah, we're almost at time. Is there anything that you want to ask while we have a few minutes left?
I want to comment on your team of others. They might not be on your real
Yeah,
estate, but they're your
yeah,
lender.
yeah.
That's actually a really brilliant comment, honestly, because they really, I call them my partners, but they are my team members. And I have a very specific group. You don't have to work with my group, but they perform the way I perform. We complement
Yes,
each other. So I
yes.
really like the way that you said that. And I might just be changing when I call people because I won't just call them bad names. I'm just saying though, but you're right, because I rely on these people and I give them business. I don't get anything in return, but they make me look good. They take care of my client.
Yes.
So I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, it does help. It absolutely helps. Um, can y'all still hear me?
Yep. Yep.
I don't know why my computer just went blank. Um, okay. It just went blank for a second. So anyway, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so it does absolutely make you feel at peace that you're referring, your client, your special client, to people who are going to treat them as well as you do, and that just leads to more of that they trust you, and more of that you're a leader in the real estate community. Like it just kind of blends to all of that. Um, So, people come to you and they know that you're going to treat them right. And then they trust you with their referrals, their family and friends. So it's kind of like this big circle. Um, and absolutely keeping your preferred vendor list, kind of, in your pocket is a good idea. Like, I don't know if I don't recommend like advertising that, like, this is my list and giving it out to all these people, because you want to make sure that you're also giving good referrals to those people on your team. you know it's this whole thing, like you want that relationship to strengthen, you want all the relationships to strengthen. So it's important to kind of hold that in and use it when you need it. Be strategic about it. Donna, do you have any final thoughts before we go? Or Chad, I see your speakers on.
I was just going to say real quick, William on development, how are you? Um, what would be super cool, I've heard this from that it might be on the development side, is to have be able to block out our background, blur the background. Um, that would be kind of cool. I know we don't have that yet. It might be developed. But another thing is a chat, and maybe that's in development already too. Like if I need to leave just to take a phone call, I can't say, "Hey, Kathy, I'm going to be gone for 5 seconds. I'm going to be gone for 2 minutes," and she might be calling
Oh,
on me to
right.
answer a question. It'd be kind of cool to have a chat on here too, if possible. Just ideas.
I feel like that is in the works, but I don't know. Maybe William can, if he's listening, he can chime in.
He checked out.
Hi, Catherine. Hi, Chad. I'm back actually. Well, I'm actually an internal agent of Radius, so I joined the call just to ensure that the room goes well. So, signing out.
Got it.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Well, I'll put it on the list, Chad. We have a wish list going.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to all of you about leadership. Um, this is Dee's normal weekly meeting, but I'm going to be probably hopping in as much as I can. But leadership is something that I really do love, so I'm happy to talk to you about it. Um, and it's always nice chatting with you all.
Thank you, Kathy.
For the time.
Yeah.